Hey guys, so it is the end of March now, and I am going to go through and do my April planner setup. So I was going to bring you along for that. So this is the month we're in now. Today's actually Wednesday the 1st. I do need to go back and put some stuff from Monday. We were super busy and I didn't really have a chance to write stuff down. But I'm going to pull out the rest of the weeks for April. And so the first one in here will actually be the 6th, which is a little later in the month. Have this. I will show you the stickers. Once again, are from PansyPrints. This first one is Rose Cottage. And what I tried to do is, like, the end of April, the end of March was getting really into the pinks and greens. So I tried to kind of carry that over with this one. And then the second week is Spring Reset. And so I was really just trying to get more into the springs, keep some of the same colors, but kind of transition it into a brighter color. So there's the second week. The third week is Bubblegum Spring. And so even here, like, I'm just trying to get them to be a little more bold. And then the last week, I was trying to get into like the purples because I think that's what I might do for a lot of May. And this is Books in Blooms. So like I said, these are all from PansyPrints, and I have cut all the stickers out. The glitter headers, I've printed those twice because I use so many of those. So that's the only page. This is the top of the page, and then that's the bottom of the page. So there will be 2 copies of those. And I will say, if you kind of notice throughout the video, my silhouette, I was having issues with my blades. So I tried to fix it a good bit. I don't think it needs a new blade. I think it was just my settings and the mat I was using. So some of these stickers might have frayed edges, or I might have some issues kind of getting them off. But I'm going to go ahead and do the beginning like I always do, where I show you the first week, and then the next 3 weeks I will set to some music. And then I feel like I didn't pay attention to what this date was. This was the 6th. And then once again, these are undated, so they just always have the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the top, and then you can just pull off your own dates for that. There is the very top, and then I usually cover this one up with a full box sticker. And then I do have my reading sticker. And when they're all finished, I'll show you some of the stickers that I added in. I think they're going to be the same ones that I've been adding in. But as far as like setting it up, the reading stickers are ones that I've printed off. So I've designed these or set it up in my silhouette, and those are my stickers. But I always have the reading there, and then I just list the books that I read for the week. And so to start off, I need to figure out what I want to do with my second border. A lot of times I put that on the bottom, but I kind of feel like I want to just keep that on the top as well this time. And a lot of times I'll put like the top here and then the bottom on this page, but I kind of think I just want to carry this across over to here. And then we'll go with green for this first glitter. I guess I didn't really show you what this one looked like, but these are the full box stickers, and then there's your double sticker, and then there's this. That's what I usually use for my steps, and then there's 2 more full box stickers, and then this has 2 more. That's the one I used over there, and then just the other kind of smaller designs for your boxes, your checklist. So I'll start putting a checklist here. And then for mine, I usually just pick a glitter header color and I just follow that all the way down the date. And then all of my dates usually have a full box checklist and then a full box picture. Sometimes I'll use more of the design boxes and a smaller checklist. I don't really like that against that green. I think I'll use this scroll. And then at the bottom of most of my pages, I usually have a place where I put a smaller box that I just write what we do for dinner. That I had debating putting that other green, but I don't think I want it beside that. I kind of think that I'm going to take the green from this day, and I think I'm just going to put that all the way across the top. And then they can start their own colors underneath that. Getting that kind of off. The sticker paper that I use is just matte sticker paper, and you can't really pull it up. That's why you'll see it kind of tear. It's not repositionable or anything, but I'm just going to cover it up again, so that doesn't really matter. And then I also don't really like putting, like if I have a full box right here, then I don't want to put a full box right beside it. And I don't like putting like the pictures beside each other. So yeah, I think that looks better just to have the same color across the top. Now I think I can use, yeah, I like that better with the pink. Looking for a smaller checklist, but I don't think I see any of the half checklists on this one, so I think I'll just throw a few different size boxes in. Kind of want this to go underneath. In case it needs to overlap some. Okay. And then I usually start Wednesday. I think I almost always start it with this little box because it is our trash day. And that's where I usually put my reminder to put out the trash can. And I think for this one, I'm going to put my full box across the very bottom. Not even going to put a glitter header down there. And so then I just have to fill in the space in between. And I'll stick one of these for our dinner. And for the double box, I think I'm going to use it as a weekend box. So we'll just cover Saturday and Sunday with it. And then on Sunday, I do usually like to have one of these where I can write down all my steps each day for the week. So I usually put that in that bottom corner. Then we'll go ahead and finish these two since they're kind of started for us. I'm just going to use the same color across both the days. try to use the checklist on Saturday because we are usually more busy on Saturday than Sunday. And then I didn't want those right beside each other. And we'll just put like a double glitter here. I'm going to pull this up. I think we can get rid of that white space there a little better. Then we'll just do one more box here. I think it's going to have to be a bigger one and just cover. Just make those glitters kind of thin there. Then I really liked this one. I wanted to use this. And then we'll start this next, just so that we don't have two full boxes beside each other. I'm not going to use the silver or the gray. I just think this has that, it doesn't really show up much in the actual designs. Full box here, and I think I'm gonna, maybe I'll put a smaller box here and then the checklist. I do wish this one had the halves. And then for the last, there was a sticker that had a book. Here it is. I wanted to make sure I used this one, so I'm just going to put this across the very bottom. And then we can just fill in both of these days. And we'll just find a box that fits both of those. I haven't done one of these, so I'll stick that one there, and then one fits in there. So that is the first week. And so I will go ahead and I'll continue on with the rest, but I'm going to go ahead and play some music to it. And when I'm done, I will come back and just kind of show you what everything looks like finished, and we can go back and even look through the previous months. have all of our pages. So now we can put them back in and see how everything looks together. Okay, so that was the one that we did together. And then for this one, I just took the strip and put it across the bottom. And I think everything else pretty much is similar. On this one, I did where I put this side across the top and then this side across the bottom. And I think this might have been the only one that had the double. So I stuck that down here on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then for this one, I was trying to do something different again with the strip. I do have trouble, if it's not at the top or the bottom, trying to fit things in. So that's why you see more of like the multiple glitter or where I cover it up some. And that's why you see me even go more out of order, because I'm trying to think ahead to how the page is going to look. So that is all of April, and then we can go back and just kind of see how everything looks there together then. So this was back in January. I do like sometimes having two of the Monday through Sunday stickers, and those kids did have them. I didn't really utilize them, but I do like keeping up with things other than my steps some weeks. And then this is how March ended up looking once everything was filled in. And I think on this one, the soccer balls are the only stickers that I made. I think the month before I did like pizza and some paw prints, but this time that was the only one, and I do still need to go back and fill in my steps there. And then, like I said, we're still in this week, so I need to finish this one out. But once again, that is everything through April. And thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great day.